So everybody, I am going to begin. I lit my villa last night and prayed to the technology gods that everything technology-wise would go well here. But we all know how presentations go. So if we get kicked on out, let's just all jump back in and we'll pick up right where we began, where we left off. I want to start by thanking our sponsor, Lick It Up. They are a 100% plant-based Mexican street food restaurant based out of here in El Paso. And they were also voted one of the top vegetarian and vegan restaurants here in the city. They've also grown to create 3 restaurants in Austin. And we're proud to, call them best of winners. So I want to start with a few introductions, everybody. My name is Gina Martinez, and I am the VP of Business Development for El Paso Inc. And I am also the program manager for Best of El Paso. I have held executive positions with Score More Shows, Live Nation, and Circuit of the Americas. And I'm also one of the founders of Neon Desert. So my job for Neon Desert was basically to curate the space and experience for fans, which meant that I had to make sure that the festival looked good and felt good, which translated to really laying the stage for good social media content and positive fan engagement. Our Neon Desert Facebook page has over 75,000 followers. And now my second baby, Best of El Paso, has 3,000 followers on Instagram. That may seem small, but we have been able to build that small but mighty following in the past 16 weeks. And I want to introduce you to the rest of our team. I've got Trey on here. He is a communication expert who has overseen digital marketing and promotional strategy for Best of El Paso. He's also led successful campaigns across the state while representing clients that range from local brands all the way to national businesses. Locally, he helped us lead the efforts for Neon Desert the PR efforts for Neon Desert since 2015. And he will really be sharing the best organizational strategies. Pam will also be presenting. She is a born and bred El Pasoan and has led the social media efforts, including content creation, implementation, and community engagement on both Instagram and Facebook for Best of El Paso. She's literally the voice of the brand. She makes sure that our content is not only high quality, but engaging to our followers. And she's going to share with us and give us some advice on finding the right words for our posts. AB is also on here. He is a local legend and nationally recognized photographer. He shoots some of the biggest celebrities along with some of the largest festivals, including Travis Scott's Astroworld, J. Cole's Dreamville, and our very own Neon Desert. He is a key member of LFDC Studios and El Paso Creative Agency, is Instagram famous in his own right by being a micro influencer. He has over 20,000 followers, and anybody who is on social media knows that that's quite a feat. And he's really going to teach us how to visually tell your brand and company story. Basically, social media has been a huge part of our personal and professional lives in the past decade. And this is a really strong group of presenters who I'm really lucky to call my colleagues. So let me change my slide, everybody, and we'll continue. So let's get to the gist of this. You're probably here because you've sat there and wondered, what am I going to post today? Or we need 10,000 followers, or how do I take the best photo? Or, what do I say here? It can all be so overwhelming. Believe me, we've all sat there, we've been there. And as our experience has grown, we're really here to share with you the best tips, tools, and techniques we have learned over the past decade. And social media for Best of El Paso has been the marketing platform of choice. It's where our target audience is, and Best of El Paso is growing at a rate of about 150 followers per week. And that's based on 3 to 5 weekly posts. And every post that we make, we're trying to acquire anywhere between 30 to 50 followers, which is no small feat. We spend a lot of time planning our posts and our photos and our engagement strategies. And we're really here to share with you those fundamentals of social media marketing. So let me start with what Best of El Paso is. We are part of the El Paso Inc. family, which is really a trusted voice in the community, and we are the Sun City's ultimate resource. We're a community resource that really provides a vetted short list of the top businesses in the community, and you're probably part of that list. And if you're not, hopefully you will be soon. We've got over 200 categories and over 1,000 businesses featured. And we've created several ways for people to access that information. One of them is this handy dandy magazine that you can kind of find across town. And in our follow-up email, we'll be sure to kind of share with you guys where you can pick up that magazine. We're also have created an app, so you can find us both in the Apple Store and on Google. We are on socials on both Facebook and Instagram. We also send out newsletters and now on this webinar. So that's kind of who we are. And we really strive to be an asset, not only for the community, but also for the winners. We want to share with you guys resources on how you can be the best business and really ultimately reach new customers, right? That's the ultimate goal. You know, Best of El Paso is an accolade that is definitely worth sharing. And what better way than to tell the world that you've been selected by your community as the top businesses? You know, customers, they want to know that they're going to the best and that they've got either the best trainer or going to the best flauta town and the best flauta restaurant in town, or that they're going to the best cardiologist. And we provide you and customers and clients with that information. And you can share that across all different types of platforms. And it's really one way to differentiate yourself from your competition. So, you know, the next thing you're probably wondering is, well, like, how can I leverage this win or your future win? Well, the best way we feel is to definitely share it on social media. That's where your customers are. And it's a platform where you can engage with them on a daily basis. You know, that's definitely a way that you can do it. And another way is to include the best of logo on your marketing collateral, whether it's, you know, venues or pamphlets or website or newsletters or press release or presentations, or what we feel the best way, which is utilizing and participating in some of the best of marketing opportunities, which we'll share with you in the follow-up email. You know, we're here to validate your awesomeness, and we want to offer our support. I, as a small business owner and past Best of El Paso winner, found myself at all kinds of meetings, whether it was a city council meeting or a sponsorship meeting, touting this accolade. It really helped us increase the number of festivals and secure our position as a quality of life enhancer in our communities, which led to more festival goers, which led to more revenue, which led to a better bottom line. And this win really speaks volumes. You know, yesterday I was speaking to another Best of winner, and he was talking about how the win really helped drive business to his drive traffic to his business. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Is getting more traffic to your social media or to your website, which will mean more customers. And with more customers, we know that that improves bottom lines. So why does social media matter and why should you be on there, right? I know there's so many people that rely on traditional marketing, but I, you know, scoured the internet to find the actual statistically based information. And so I have 5 reasons why it's important to be on there. So the first one is that on Statista, I found that 59% of the world's population is on social media. It's so crazy that 6 billion people, you know, and in 2020, people spent 3 hours on social media every day. So what a great way to reach your customers, right? At the right place. The next reason is that according to the Harvard Business Review, social media has never been more powerful as a marketing tool. Social media spending has increased from 13.3% to 23.2%, which is a 74% increase in 2020. So another reason to be on there. The next one, reason number 3, is it allows you to interact with your audience and to really connect with them in a personal level on a daily basis. You know, you want to stay on the top of people's minds, then what better way to reach them than social media, where they are already. The 4th reason is you get to tell your story your way, and a better connection with the audience will lead you to more loyal customers and thus making you ahead of your business game, leaving your competition behind. And who doesn't want to do that? The final one, which, you know, we've all been living in the world of COVID, is I think a really valid one to share with you guys. And social media has become the most important post-COVID, or social media has become most important post-COVID because it has become the main source of information, surpassing print and digital media platforms, according to eMarketer. Facebook in the month of March 2020 saw a 70% increase across all its platforms. That's crazy to think about how much time people are spending on there, and what better way to reach them than where they already are. So now that I've laid the foundation, I want to pass it off to Trey, who's going to give you ideas on the best way to organize, Pam, who's going to give you advice on how to find the right words, AB, who will teach you how to visually tell your company story, and we'll conclude with sharing some of the top resources. All of this to help you grow your following and improve your engagement. So Trey, take it away, hun.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone taking the time to join us today. As Gina mentioned, myself and Pam kind of oversee the social media. I'm a bit more on the top line strategy, making sure that sales is talking to the content team and that there's a bunch of integration that's going on to maximize the results for our clients. And ultimately, I will, in a moment here, pass it over to Pam to talk a little bit more specifically about content creation and some ideas to create some unique talking points for your audience. I think it's important from the jump, you know, and I'll reiterate this several times, but really the goal should be, as business owners, is to get away from doing social media on a day-to-day basis. You really should want to forecast out as far as you can, because that will allow you time to focus more on revenue generation opportunities, but also to allow you to be more creative with the content that you are presenting to your fans. So that is why having, you know, a sound footing from the jump is so important. So as you're creating your social media plan, I think a big part of it is goals, right? The goals are not always the same. You're going to think to yourself, well, hey, I just want to get my Instagram up. But ultimately, what does that mean? Is it based on your social media following? Are we trying to drive traffic to a website or an e-store? Maybe for us, a big component, not only on social media growth, is app downloads. So we have different promotions and content series that work towards both of those different goals. Now, sometimes there is overlap, but I think establishing from the jump a priority of these are the things that I'm trying to accomplish with my social media will ultimately help dictate your strategy moving forward. That also said, I think it's really important to look at your target audience and understanding, you know, who exactly you're trying to go for. I know for a lot of businesses, it's like, let's just maximize, let's get as many customers as possible. Well, in reality, the more that you can create a subsect of an audience, you're going to build a community that people can rally around, and over time that will slowly grow. It's also important to think about, okay, a timeline of news and events. Having some sort of communication that is not only engaging but timely and relevant for your audience is really important. So understanding, like, hey, for instance, National Margarita Day just happened. Like, but what if, for instance, Cinco de Mayo is coming up? Let's think about some really creative content that we can use to promote that. It's timely. We know people care about it. But also outside of those holidays, what are we doing? Is there a sale we have coming up? Maybe a happy hour we're throwing? Maybe some community, nonprofit give back. What are the different pieces that we can use to create kind of a cascading waterfall of ongoing news and announcements to keep people engaged? And then lastly, too, it's important to look at who are your existing partners. Who are the people who have already talked about you and posted about you and maybe come and visited your store? I think to leverage those relationships are going to be really important, because those are ultimately going to be really some of your strongest advocates out in the market. And especially if you consider that some of these influencers have massive followings, they can be a really important tool for you to reach new customers. Moving ahead, I think on a basic level, it's important to understand access and use. So understanding who on my team is going to have access to my Instagram and Facebook. Who's the person approving this? Who is the person actually scheduling it if you do have like a third party service, which we'll talk about more later. Things like that are going to be really important. Say, for instance, you have a counterpart and that they lead your social media channels? What happens when they go out of town? What happens when something happens late at night? I think working through those scenarios in real time is going to be important so that at no point the ball is dropped and your fans are left kind of unanswered or unattended to. Another great thing to think about is with everyone having mobile phones, everything is going to be now synced across all your devices. So not only can you access this via mobile, but say, for instance, if you are an individual business owner and you do all your social media yourself, you will have almost 24-hour access with your phone should you be in a more remote location. And lastly, too, I think it's important to establish your brand voice, understanding what, and this kind of ties back to those general strategy points above, but really whittling down and understanding what is the kind of tone you want to have with your audience. What are the messages you're trying to convey? Do you want to be like snarky and kind of smart alecky and real quick, or do you want to be more open and transparent and supportive? There's a lot of different ways you can take, as I'm sure you guys have seen on your own. But I think it's important to establish that from the jump, because you want to create, again, a community that people know what to look for and can speak about the experience you're providing on a regular basis. To the next part, and this is where Pam will talk a little bit more specifically, it's important to create, when we speak about a forecasting, a content calendar. So as you can see here in the graphic, it's a very basic calendar, and this is something we do on our own. And we generally on the Best of El Paso team are forecasting anywhere from 15 to 45 days out, depending what the content is. But that said, in your content calendar, some of the basic things you should have is date, when is it going up, time, when is it being posted. It depends too on your engagement levels. Generally, you have to think on social media, because I post at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, doesn't mean people will see that at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. So just understanding how your audience uses your platform is important. And luckily, Facebook and Instagram have really great insights for you to use. Also things, copy, which is the text, imagery, which is the photo, hashtag, which are really important for searchability. I know some folks might find them annoying or unnecessary, but as far as expanding reach, they are vital to all social media users nowadays. And then lastly, notes, making small notes about why you want to do this or not, what you should include, what you shouldn't. And again, those are more things important for larger social teams. Next, I think it's understanding, like we said, forecasting. We want to identify what are content that can reoccur every single month, which, let's say, based on all our promotions and all the giveaways and the content themes that we have identified in the Best of El Paso team, let's say that there's 30 days in a month. We want to post 2 to 4 times, maybe 5 max, which means we have roughly 15 to 20 days to create content. We've identified roughly 7 to 10 recurring themes, meaning we have about 5 to 10 posts that we can be really creative and allow things to pop up. Oh my gosh, hey, Khalid just got a Grammy. Oh, hey, the sports team, blah blah blah. Aaron Jones just made the Pro Bowl. You want to have some flexibility because you want to be attentive to things that are going on in your, in real time, similar to the winter storms many of Texas experienced. But you also want to build out content that it will serve a certain purpose, so that you can focus again on more revenue opportunities. Again, going back to the last part, is just an internal review process, understanding who's approving, who's scheduling, who's doing the community management, responding to posts, because it's important to identify that in the beginning, because worst case, what if the person running that gets a new job, or you hire an intern and it changes every semester? The more that you can invest in building the process, the better your organization will run in the long term. And lastly, this is my last point. It is so important to schedule in advance. There are a lot of different softwares and management tools, either free or paid, depending on how much analytics and backend information you want. But that's going to be really important, again, so that you can focus on creating the most engaging and creative content possible, because that will ultimately build your community and get folks excited about what you're saying. So those are kind of some very top line strategy pieces and like things that you really should be doing from an organizational standpoint. But I'm going to kick it over to Pam now to talk a little bit more on like specific content ideas and copy and imagery, all those sorts of things.
Thanks, Jay. Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela. If we can change the screen for me so you guys can see
Oh,
the
sorry
screen.
about that, Pam.
So I'm Pamela. I'm the one that does the content and copy for the Best of El Paso social media. Content being the images, videos, graphics, and the copy being the um, caption with the hashtags. One thing that is very important first when you're doing your social media is realizing how much you want to communicate with your followers. Like Trey said, Best of El Paso, we do want to communicate maybe 2 to 3 times. You as your business, you may want to communicate daily, bi-weekly, or monthly, whatever it is that you want. First, you need to establish that so you know how much content you need to get. One of the main things when I am getting my content that I do is I do research regarding whatever events or holiday or posts that we're doing, for captions, images, and hashtags. The research that I do is to see how it best aligns with our brand. We're Best of El Paso, so anything El Paso is perfect for us. Like Trey said, we just had National Margarita Day that just happened, which is it's a holiday that most businesses can use. When I started doing my research, I saw that one of the first margaritas to ever be made was in Juarez. So that's perfect for us because that ties in perfectly with our brand, which is El Paso Juarez Connection. So that was something that made it stand out from the other posts when conducting that. Another thing, hashtags, how Trey mentioned, hashtags are very important because on social media, people can follow hashtags specifically. So even though they are not following your account, if you hashtag, let's say El Paso has over 2 million posts on there. So if someone is following the El Paso tag and they happen to see your content and it catches their attention by either the caption or the image, that will more than likely direct them to follow you. There's a lot of El Paso hashtags with high followings. I always recommend having hashtags that have about a few hundred posts on there just to get more engagements. I do see some businesses that want to create their own hashtags, which is fine, but I would also combine it with other hashtags that already have followings just so you can get more interaction. Another thing also is once you start getting familiar with your social media, Instagram and Facebook does have a special area where it's called the analytics or the reports, where it lets you know the best engagement that you have with your followers. Do your followers engage more with you in the mornings? Do they engage with you more at nights, weekdays, weekends? It specifically tells you what time is that you have the most interaction. So once you're able to read that, you know what time to post so you can get the most likes and the most comments on your post. Another thing that I definitely do recommend is following accounts that have similar content like you. For example, I love sharing anything that has to do with El Paso sunsets, the star on the mountain, any El Paso photos. When our Best of El Paso winners have sales or they have a special event happening, we always love resharing them because at the end of the day, more than likely they will reshare us as well, and their followers will see our posts. So just resharing people in your community, it's like you guys reshare their posts, they reshare yours, and their followers follow you guys. So it's just, you get more followers and more engagement that way. Another important thing is having interaction with your followers. Following people with high followings, of course, we want to do our influencers, our tastemakers, other restaurants that we have other restaurants that we have in our area that or bars or anything that is very popular. We like following them and just seeing what type of events they have on there. Mentions, every time there's a mention, every time there's a comment, you don't have to be directly post a lot. It's social media. Emojis say a lot of things now. So someone says, hey, great page, send them a little smiley face, thumbs up, and that's perfect for them. And also a big thing is when you have an event, sale, giveaway, you are very able to answer questions and concerns immediately from there. So that is one thing that definitely helps being able to answer all the concerns that people have or questions. They just like to know that someone is on the other side. Now, another important thing or another tool that we use that we definitely love is Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a great tool to be able to schedule things in advance, especially for businesses that don't have a dedicated social media team or social media person. Let's say you are a business owner. For you to be able to stay consistent and post every day, it's going to get a lot. It's going to get a lot and it's very time consuming. So Hootsuite is great because you can go ahead and schedule everything. Let's say the last day of February, you have everything scheduled for the rest of the month, March. You don't have to worry about it. You can worry on other things. And of course, if you need to go ahead and post something that happened in real time, you always have that liberty of moving things around. Hootsuite is great because one, it keeps you consistent with posting, and also you don't have to do it as on real time as well. The main thing that I would definitely recommend is being consistent with your followers and your time spent on social media so you can answer all the questions you have. The next thing that we'll be talking about will be AB. He'll be talking about the importance of photography.
Hey guys, perfect. So here I'm gonna. So what I do for my job actually is I create content for a bunch of businesses around town. I've traveled, like Gina said, I've traveled to before COVID to multiple festivals monthly and create content for all these amazing businesses. So really quickly, I'm just gonna kind of relapse very shortly. I know you guys want to learn how to actually make the content, but just really quickly, just before I kind of step into in the photography that you take for your own business, you have to make sure you have a brand identity. And then basically what a brand identity is, it's basically just a collection of things that you have in your brand, like basically elements that shape your brand and who you are. For example, if you're a clothing company, you don't want to portray that you sell food if you're not going to sell food. Making sure that all those elements kind of tie in, and then basically having good photos kind of keeps you competitive around your other competitors, showing that you are the latest and greatest version of yourselves will definitely have like the consumer, and they'll know that you are. Visual storytelling in the content. Make sure that your consumer knows who you are, where you are, and what you do. Basically saying in the photos, maybe there's an El Paso landmark that you want to choose to let your audience know that you are in El Paso. What you do if you sell clothes, if you're a restaurant, if you're a professional of some sort, make sure that is tied into the photo, and that's basically it. If everything that under as far as also the shareable across multiple platforms, the way to just basically kind of manage that, a tool that honestly I even use for my stories. A lot of my grid is kind of just taken on a professional camera, just because of the tools that are available to me. But the tool that's most available to basically everyone is just using your phone, and iPhone. I really recommend everyone ask me, what camera should I buy? I want to make content. I want to make content. Well, first, you just definitely start with your iPhone. iPhone cameras are amazing, and the things that they are able to do, like in software, is spectacular. Professional cameras, they don't know how to really you have to kind of do it on the back end. iPhone cameras are all in one. It's not about the megapixels, it's just how you portray the story. Basically everything that I have under the highlight your brand, Pam and Trey already kind of talked about it. So let's get right into how to actually create your content. So one of the main things that makes your content really stand out is how you light it. And the best light that you can get basically from anywhere is the sunlight. Basically, it's available, it's free, you don't have to buy it, you don't have to do nothing. Sunlight, it helps you with everything. I really recommend if you're gonna do an indoor photo or something. I took like some example photos at a friend's house. It's what they had laying around. So yeah, take as you will. I used the window light. window light, use all your window light. Right now, I'm in front of a window light. That's how it's lighting me up right now. It's how I'm doing the Zoom, and you can see how like crisp and clear you can see. So basically, use your window light. Use the window light to your advantage. Use the sunlight to your advantage. Also, if you need to time certain posts, for example, you also don't if you're going to do a night event, don't do it in the sun. If you're going to have the content correlate to what you're going to do. One of the things people ask me a lot of the times is, what's the best time of day to take the photos? Usually I always say sunset. There's a time before the sun goes down that gives you extremely soft light. It makes skin look beautiful, it makes everything look beautiful. It's called golden hour. Use golden hour to your advantage. Golden hour is usually like an hour and a half right before the sun goes complete down in just complete night. Use that. If you can, I would even invest in a reflector. Those are $20. You could buy at Best Buy, Amazon. I'll type it into the chat. They're really easy. They really help out. If you have someone to help you out, then that honestly works too. Okay, so now let's go into composition. Composition, if you can see in these little photos, I've added a second prop in the photo. It fills up the frame. It looks a little bit better than just having just with the one can on its own. It fills up the frame, kind of it attracts your audience to what you're supposed to be looking at. If you could get more of that one thing you're selling or the one thing you're providing, that'd be great. Fill up the frame, use the composition. Basically, that's what that means. In the top left photo, you can see where you could faintly see, but the iPhone provides you a grid, basically helping you line up your shot, basically lining up how your shot goes and whatnot. See how you could barely see it, but in the grid, I lined up that other line with the other beer can, and I lined up the front line with your other beer can, basically filling up your frame identically and kind of having all that sort of. So back to the iPhone camera, kind of just going on to how it's basically the best. With the iPhone camera comes the iPhone editing software. The iPhone editing software, that's what I use for most of my stories. I don't know if some of you guys follow me, but I like to have my whole kind of stories, Instagram, kind of look really nice just because I am a photographer and I do think that matters. With the iPhone, with some certain iPhones, you get three cameras. Let that focus. There it is. You get three cameras. You get your wide, your telephoto, and then your regular camera. Use those to your advantage. If you're taking if you're taking a photo of an entire space, use the wide angle camera. If you're taking something small, use your macro camera. It's basically it already. I'm sure you guys have those who have iPhones. I'm sure actually other phones do have the multiple lenses. Experiment with what you want. What you don't want to do though is if you're shooting something small, don't shoot it wide, because if you can see in the top right, I shot it on the wide angle, and it looks you can see the whole room. The attention of the product is not there. You're kind of just losing your product, and it's making it really small. If you want to, you want to get right into the action. You want to make sure you fill the frame. You want to make sure you use your window light, and you should use your iPhone editing app to edit your photos. At the bottom right, I did like a really subtle edit to the photo that I took. You can kind of see like the difference between the left. I edited a vignette. It literally took me 5 seconds to edit that photo. You could even do the auto feature on the editing app, the one that's actually in the iPhone camera. Is really smart. They've kind of made it really easy for anyone to take really good photos. I did my own edit on the iPhone app, and then I did the auto edit, and it basically landed up the same way how me, a professional, would know how to edit, and basically the auto. So use that auto to your advantage. Try to brighten up the colors. If whatever you're selling or providing is bright, make sure you use your use of that, and that's pretty much it. Other than all that, make sure you're consistent with your quality, with your content quality. You don't want to see a subtle drop off if you get really interested into making sure your product or services look really nice, and then the next week, you know what, like you didn't really like it, or you thought it was too much work, you're going to see a noticeable drop off in the quality of content. You're going to see that a break in the content that you've been serving to your client. So make sure you stay consistent with your quality. Again, literally, it takes 10 minutes to take a photo on your iPhone. You don't need like a professional camera to take these like nice photos. As a matter of fact, there are many Instagram influencers that take all their photos on their iPhone and basically edit everything on there. So I really want you guys to know that shooting and editing on your iPhone is super normal, and it's super it's a really good. Some people can't even tell the difference between a professional camera and an iPhone camera. So use that to your advantage. Make sure you use the tool that's in your pocket every single day, the iPhone, phone, whatever. If you do have like a professional camera, experiment with that. But if you want something fast, easy, and quick that'll get you basically do the job, use your phone. And that's pretty much. If you guys, I know I saw in the chat some people asking how to actually create the content. So I would recommend your iPhone. I don't know if you guys, Gina, if you want to take it away from here.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Abe, Trey, and Pam. The information that you guys have shared is really invaluable, I know, to some of our clients and people who are on this call. I did want to also share with you guys some resources here that can also help you. And I'm going to minimize this so we can take a look at this. And I am going to stop my share so that I can then share the entire screen here. But some of the things that I am going to follow up with you guys on are some of these resources. The first is links to some of the best of El Paso social media assets, including copy that you can share, as well as logos and creative guidelines, as well as a winner's social media bundle. So that will be included here. That's a great way to start promoting that you guys are winners, and great content to let your fans, customers, clients know that you are one of the best in your respective category. The next link that we are sharing is a platform called Canva. Canva is a great resource because it allows really editing tools to engage your fans as well. Unfortunately, mine is not opening. Wait, here it is. And it's got lots of different platforms, and one of the ways that we here create our content as well. So another really easy resource to share with you guys that you can use to create better content. As AB mentioned, lighting is really important. One of the things that I'm actually using during this Zoom is a ring light. For $34, you can get this ring light, and it can make your photos pop. As you guys know, photos are a really important aspect to social media, and what better way than to take great photos than get this easy to use light that can improve the quality of your content. One of you guys had asked on our chat, do you guys have some social media content calendars? This is a really easy, free one, once again, that we are going to share with you guys. It's got different types. It's just a basic calendar, but it's got different types of pages. One that is the actual approved monthly content. The next one is just a place to put your content ideas, and then any additional categories that you can fill to make sure that your content is going up at the right time, that your message is correct, that your link is there, that your image is there. So we'll be sure to pass this along when we send this to you. Another resource that we use is this really easy one. It's called National Today. You can look on your at this website and see what special days are happening, whether it's like National Pet Day or Margarita Day, as Pam mentioned, or something along those lines. Once again, my internet is, I think, struggling with me opening these links. And then the last one is Hootsuite. As we mentioned, Hootsuite is a service that can help you. There's lots of different ones out there to help you schedule your content to make sure that you guys are getting your content out there in time. But this is the one that we use. Our team will also, in the packet that we include or email out to you guys, will email everything from a free version to this one. One of the people participating is part of a nonprofit. He had a great recommendation, and so we'll be sure to pass those along. And just, you know, we wanted to make sure that you guys walked away with something tangible that you can use post this this session. And now I am going to open it up into a Q&A. So I am going to go to the chat and just pull up some of the questions. For those of you guys that have been on, we really appreciate it. We understand if some of you guys need to log on now, but we're going to go into the Q&A section and hopefully get your guys' specific questions answered. So I'm going to go here. And the first question that I have is from Leslie, and what she says her biggest challenge is marketing public education. Leslie, that's a very unique challenge within this landscape. I was actually a previous teacher, so I understand that this is a unique space, and you know, from my past experience, know that there's so many also parameters that you have to live within there. You know, I'm going to kind of answer, then I'll give Pam or Trey or AB an opportunity to you know, fill in some answers there. But really searching some hashtags on Instagram, you know, when you go into the search bar, hashtag education, and see what comes up there, I think that's a really good starting point to give you some ideas on what other people in the academic realm are using, both image-wise and content-wise. And, you know, that can help, that can be a starting point. And there's, excuse me, another resource could be National Today. Maybe there's like Teacher Appreciation Week that you can post about, or Principals Day. I know that that was, you know, something that happened, or, you know, Cafeteria Workers Day. So you can look on there to find all the different types of day to then schedule content around that. Pam or Trey, do you guys have anything else to add to that?
No, just research like research educational holidays, and I'm sure a bunch of lists will come out for that.
And, you know, to be honest, rarely is content on social media completely unique, something that no one has ever seen or thought of before. So really look at the folks that you want to emulate in your competitors and others just in the market or in your industry, and see what can they do, and not copy and paste by any means, but understanding like, how can we make that promotion or that theme or etc. fit for us and our brand. So again, use that, as to Pam's point, for research purposes.
Thank you guys. Oh, go ahead,
yeah.
AB.
Sorry, I think if in a content perspective, if there's something that the specific school or board that you're working for, if there's something unique about it, I would go out and make the content, whatever. I just quickly looked up hashtag education on my Instagram, and over here I'm seeing just a lot of schools show off their facilities, a lot of these places showing off what they have, what they offer for kids. And if you are, I don't know, like what age range the education is, whether it be adults or whether it be kids. If it's adults want to see other adults in the content. They want to make sure that they'll fit in. They want to make sure that they won't be out of place whenever they like go to whatever school it is that they're going to.
And another content series, we spoke about content series and having something that you post on a weekly basis. Maybe you do a teacher focus. You highlight a teacher of the week, or another employee within the education system that you're working in. Whether it be a cafeteria lady or a janitor or a principal, that could be one of the content series, or like AAB said, focusing on the different facilities that are offered within the educational program. Hopefully those are some good strategies and can get you going. I have another question for Christy. She says her biggest challenge is Instagram stories. So Pam or AB, can you guys speak to how to improve Instagram stories and how to create content for that?
So for the Instagram stories, what I like to do, just for the most basic, if you have absolutely nothing to post, is definitely if you post something on your page, just reposting it on your story and using all the different tools that the story has, which is GIFs. You can add location. You can add, like, let's say if you are having an event, you can have a little timer when people know exactly when the timer finishes. Or also just reposting similar accounts, because when you repost similar accounts, you can repost them directly to your story. So let's say, for example, we're doing education. If you are a specific school, maybe reposting the other schools in your district as a story. Just different little things you can repost like that. That's always something good for your stories.
So on a technical, I'm going to chime in on a technical way of how to kind of cultivate stories for Instagram. A lot of people have like this tendency to use to shoot your photos like this. If you're specifically shooting for stories, make sure you rotate your phone vertically, because when you rotate your phone vertically, that's basically, it's gonna fit your stories, whatever. So you won't have to crop in or zoom in or whatever to fill the frame. I personally don't like when it's a horizontal photo and it doesn't fit into the story. That kind of, it loses my attention. I only see, instead of seeing this much of image, I only see this much, and it doesn't really pull me in. And whether if it's like whatever content that you're making, Christy, a lot of people want to see you stay active. I know that for me, whenever that I know I'm gonna make a post on my social media, I make sure I lead up to it. I don't cold post the photo and realize, like, why did I only get 100 likes, for example, when I know I can get 200 likes. It's because people haven't seen you on their timeline, or people kind of forgot about you, or people so like, oh, where has this person been? If you lead up to whatever story or whatever content that you're going to post, that really helps out. It may seem like it's a little bit extra work, but if ultimately what you're trying to do is drive traffic to your social media, which honestly leads up to more money or more customers or whatever, make sure you lead up to it. It might sound kind of corny, but people want to see, whether it be like an influencer or a brand or a company, people want to see what you're up to. People want to, that's why social media, it kind of exists. People want to see what you're doing, whether it be, I know some trainers, they, for example, like physical trainers, people that gym, I'm training a client at 8 a.m. and today today we're focusing on abs, and today we're doing legs at 12 p.m. They want to see what you're doing, what you offer. So staying active on stories is kind of is really important. And it might seem, sometimes I'll forget to post a story, or maybe just like Trey was talking in his story, it might be a project that you're going to release later. Make sure you take a lot of photos, make sure you take a lot of video vertically if it's going to be for stories. Then whenever you're ready to release a project, slowly start releasing the content, and like, oh, there's the and then once you post it on your grid, they're going to be like, oh, there's the project that they've been working on for the week, and there's a project that they've been teasing. So really use the stories, kind of stay on top of it. Make sure you shoot your if you're going to use your phone, make sure you shoot it vertically, so that you can fill up the entire window.
That's
And
really
to AB,
oh,
to AB's point as well, not only is it important for consumer behavior to say stop of mind, there's just so much clutter out there in the space, especially on social media. But it's also, the social platforms themselves favor those who are more consistent and regular with their posting. So you will see that you will be boosted to the top of the scroll. People will see your content more the more regular you are. So say, for instance, you say, I'm slammed at business. I'm a one person business. I'm slammed. There's no way I can do 4 or 5 posts a week. That's impossible. I can do 1 or 2. Then what you can do to supplement that is also do a bunch of stories to fill that gap, so that you are having some consistent engagement with your fans. So again, it's just another opportunity. And the best part about stories, in my opinion, they are much less risk, because of the fact that content is 24 hours. So if you wanted to, if it might not be appropriate for your actual feed and your grid, something that will live on for a long time, you can do small engagements just through stories, which will disappear in about 24 hours.
and I
Also,
think that
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that I think that also answers Abigail's question. You know, she asked like, what's the sweet spot as far as posting? And I really think that 3 to 5 per week, and then would you say once per day or twice per day, or how many times per day do you think you should do stories, guys?
There's no
Stories,
wrong answer.
stories to me is you can post either 5 posts, 10 posts, 15 posts, 20 posts, because they're so small and they run out in 24 hours. As opposed to an actual post on your news feed, if you post, let's say 20 posts, someone's gonna see you just post, and that's all they see on their post. They're gonna be like, I don't want to follow this person because that's all I see. But when it's on your story, there's not really a limit as to how much you can post on there. You can feel comfortable to post as much as you'd like.
It's really all about consistency and creating some regularity for your audience. There are some social influencers in town. A good partner of ours is FitFam El Paso. They do up to 50 to 100 stories a day. And that might seem like a ton, but their audience is expecting that. And it's actually become a news source for a lot of folks around town. Where we, on the other hand, are being a bit more targeted in terms of the businesses we're promoting. So again, it's just a different approach, different goals. But all of this, you can see it's important to establish the structure from the beginning.
Yeah, Trey, I know that you've got other engagements, so if you need to log off, go ahead. We can kind of, if Pam, AB, you guys are down to continue answering questions, let's do it. I would like to obviously wrap in about 10 minutes, but just wanted to give everyone the opportunity to do what they needed to do. I am going to go on to the next kind of question that we have here. And that is, so Josie says that she tends to be too wordy. What's the best way to come up with catchy descriptions and titles? And I think I'm going to go back to the hashtag search, guys. I think that that's a really, really helpful tool to be able to see what other people are doing, whether you're in the education space or in the restaurant business or a doctor. That's going to give you, you can do a hashtag search, and so many options are going to come up. It's going to take doing some research, but I think that's going to be a really great way to come up with some of those catchy content. Elisa has one of the next questions, and it's, you know, one of her biggest challenges is connecting with kiddos in her after school program. You know, being a former teacher, I totally understand that. I'm going to give you, you know, maybe a few content ideas that you can use to then connect with them. You know, kids want to see what they're interested in, whether it be music or video games or sports. And I think creating potential content series around that. Maybe you post a song of the week, you know, a popular song that kids are listening to, or you, tag a video game that the kids are into, and, you know, give a tip on how there is educational benefits from that. I mean, we might have to, that might be a stretch, but doing something along those lines and really meeting the kids where they're at. Or maybe it's, you know, posting comments on popular movies or a comment from a popular movie series, you know, really trying to meet the kids where they are at, and reaching your audience that way are just some tools that you can start with. Pam and AB, do you guys have other suggestions?
Also, something that's very popular right now are memes. And you can literally just Google educational memes, like, and seeing, like, for example, you're in education, or we all saw the Bernie Sanders with the gloves and he was everywhere, right? Like, that would have been a great thing to have, like, Bernie Sanders in class with you that one day. Like, you know, the kids would have laughed and said, like, because that was everywhere. Educational memes, like, those are, memes are very popular, and you can really get memes and literally change what the wording is to fit your brand. So if it's a meme and you want to say something about school, change the wording so it's more of an educational purpose.
Really quickly, Alicia. So I guess to tie on to what Pam and both Gina said, I also don't think you should be caught up trying to make the perfect post every time, because the whole point, the whole point of social media, and honestly, just like what Pam said, memes. 2 weeks ago, or when during the inauguration, when Bernie Sanders was sitting like that, I literally only saw it for like 2 days. That's how fast things come and go. So don't think about trying to make the perfect post every single time, because it honestly doesn't exist. It's more about putting content out there. So don't hesitate in putting content out there. Make sure, especially with kids, I don't know what age group that you're working with, especially with kids, they consume media so much faster than what we do, especially with young kids. Just like how what Gina said, look into what the current culture is for them. I know Fortnite, video games, memes, YouTube shows. Kind of get involved with all of them. See what attracts their eye, and kind of see, and for that, make cultivate the content for them. Whether if you have like a game night and the after school or whatever, post about it. Show the parents that, like, look, this is what we're doing. This is what's currently going on in our services, whatever you guys have. So make sure that you don't overthink your content just because it's not perfect or you wish it was this or that. Just go ahead and post it. Especially if you're doing stories, it's 24 hours. Come on, like let's generate some traffic.
For sure. And Alicia, you said that middle schoolers were your toughest audience. That is actually the grades that I taught. So I hear you on that, sister. But going back to like the music stuff, music and video games and sports and, Instagram influencers, that's the world that they live in. Maybe it's, seeing what Instagram influencers are doing and pointing out how they are turning that their online brand into a business. That's something that's happening. Or TV shows, that's something that kids are really into. And there's the I think also the memes is a really great advice there. Natasha also posted, was it Natasha? Yes, she posted something really interesting. And Pam and AB, I'm interested in hearing what your guys' feedback is here. But she said, in our opinion, what is the most sought after form of engagement? Like on Facebook, is it the number of likes or the number of reactions or the number of comments? On Instagrams, is it the number of, the love symbols or comments or, likes on the stories? Tell us, let's start with Facebook, Pam and AB, what is it there? And then we'll talk about Instagram.
So Facebook definitely is likes and shares and reactions. Everything that's like and share. So if you're gonna put something, I would always put in the captions, like and share, like, so we can have people to do it. One thing I do need to also say, if you are posting something on Facebook, make sure that you are on public. Because if you're not in public, people are not able to share your post. So always just make sure you are on public so people can go ahead and share it. And with Instagram, it's everything. Instagram, it's even if people send your post to someone else via direct messages, you can see that. When people save your posts, when people comment, when people like stuff, it's basically everything. The more interaction you have with that's what's going to put you on top of the algorithm.
So, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, AB.
So I'm gonna, I guess, expand on Instagram, Natasha. Right now, Instagram is constantly changing the algorithm all the time. It literally probably change it like at least once every quarter, and it's for people that cultivate their content to the actual algorithm. It's a little bit frustrating, but not to worry. Saves get the more saves your post gets, the higher it goes up on the algorithm. The more basically what you want is the most saves or shares, whether people share it to their own Instagram, whether your content, whatever your content deserves to be shared on their social media, or they share it with other people directly across DMs, direct messaging. That gets like a lot. Instagram takes note whether they see that whatever you posted or whatever you said or whatever is being shared. They'll take note of that and they'll keep pushing it up towards the higher on the algorithm. A long time ago, Instagram used to be chronological, and that was the good old days. But now it's more on how much your content is shareable. Whether I don't know, Natasha, what you do, but whether if it's like a teaching point, a lot of people are going to be sharing that. A lot of people want to see what you're teaching, or they think that your content deserves to be shared, or whether they think that your photo or whatever, if you're a photographer, your photo is amazing and it deserves to be seen with their audience. So make sure that your content is very shareable. That's like the main thing that you want it to be saved and shared on Instagram.
And also, one thing I forgot to say about the algorithm is not only do you need to post content, but you also need to interact. So all your followers, watch all their stories, send the reactions to them, comment on other people. Like, it's not only a one-way street. You have to also do it. So if you start interacting with other people, you start watching other people's stories, that will go ahead and also increase your algorithm. You just can't post and I posted and I'm done. No, it has to be a two-way street there.
Well, everybody, we're going to wrap this up. We've got about a minute left. I want to end by thanking all of you guys for coming on to this program and really listening to our stories and the information and the knowledge that we've all acquired over the past decade. We are going to be hosting more of these, so please stay tuned on our Facebook and Instagram page or on our social newsletters, and we will share with you guys this presentation so that you guys can have access to this information, not only on this platform, but if you want to share it with somebody else, we would love for you guys to do that. Once again, thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you guys being here, and see you at the next one. Bye, everybody.